A 55-year-old woman who remarried decided to take all of her new husband's savings in order to gather enough money for her son's bride price. And since then, she disappeared for over 10 years. However, when she found out that her husband had built a villa at home, she actually called the media, asking them to expose her husband's immoral behavior. She questioned her husband, asking why he didn't notify her immediately when he had money, causing her to wander outside for more than 10 years, always waiting for him to find her.
家里还起了别墅啊，全部都是他们家的，就是你去了以后，他们的条件才开始变好的。
The old lady cried and said that if she hadn't decisively abandoned their impoverished home back then, how could her old partner have been motivated to strive and improve himself? Now, half of the wealth from the villa and the thousands of acres of land belonged to her, thanks to her significant contribution. This time, she brought her luggage back, hoping that the reporter would fight for her. Seeing the old lady crying so sorrowfully, the reporter was convinced of the situation and immediately brought a crowd to block the old man at the door. However, when the old lady pointed at the villa and claimed that she owned half of the family's property, the old man suddenly stepped forward and tenderly stroked the old lady's face. This moved the old lady to tears. But the old man felt that his expression of affection was not warm enough, so he picked up a nearby bamboo pole and was about to hit the old lady. Fortunately, with the reporter's persuasion and the realization that the incident was being recorded on camera, he refrained from doing so and turned to walk into the house. However, to everyone's surprise, when the old lady reappeared, she seemed like a different person, actively preparing tea for her partner and bringing it over. The old lady, who had just been crying and angrily cursing her partner for being unethical, had suddenly transformed into a gentle and virtuous little lamb. This abrupt change left the reporter momentarily stunned, questioning whether they had helped the wrong person. But remembering that they had already clocked in for work, the reporter decided to continue with the investigation to the end.
他跟我说的意思是他想回到这个家，他想跟你好好生活啊。
The old man stated frankly that he and the old lady had met through the introduction of his younger sister-in-law. When he learned that the old lady's previous husband had passed away in a car accident, leaving her to care for her son alone, he felt a sense of pity. Coupled with the younger sister-in-law's intentional matchmaking, they quickly became a couple. The old man said that, since he was approaching 60, he did not require his partner to be as beautiful as a fairy. He only needed someone who could help with household chores, allowing him to focus on his farm work. During their time together, he would give the old lady 800 yuan each month as living expenses, and later, because the old lady helped take care of their grandson, he added an extra 1,000 yuan. A few years ago, the old lady was very diligent and quickly earned the family's approval, so he entrusted all of the family's property to her management. However, he never expected that once the bank book was in her hands, the old lady immediately turned hostile. As the saying goes, it's easy to give money, but hard to get it back. To avoid arguing with the old lady over 200 yuan, the old man had no choice but to borrow money from his son to buy a gift for his niece. However, when faced with the old man's accusations, the old lady explained that she wanted to spend money wisely and that her partner should focus on earning money instead of wasting energy on such a trivial amount as 200 yuan. Hearing the old lady's unreasonable explanation, the old man fell silent, as she was the partner he had chosen. Realizing that life had to continue, he chose to endure it. Unexpectedly, the old lady became increasingly unreasonable. Having gained control over the family finances, she also began to dominate other aspects of their life. Overnight, the old lady transformed from a diligent and capable wife into a princess who expected everything to be handed to her. The old man, who worked hard on the farm all day, came home to find himself washing clothes, cooking meals, and cleaning the house. This situation made his life extremely difficult.
洗碗什么的都是你吗？
中国是我得配过一个人帮忙，我月薪有14个人条款。
这碗筷都是你洗？
都是我洗。
Initially, the old man chose to swallow his anger for the sake of family harmony. However, in response to his concession, The old lady became even more presumptuous and demanded that the old man help her renovate the old house. Subsequently, the old man spent both money and effort to rebuild the old lady's dilapidated house into a two-story building. Despite the old man's efforts, the old lady showed no gratitude and even told the neighbors that this was something her husband should have done. The old man had hoped that by renovating the old house and addressing these concerns, the old lady would wholeheartedly take care of the family. However, to his surprise, the old lady eventually used the old man's unwillingness to help pay for her son's wedding as an excuse to pack her bags and leave secretly. After leaving, she even sent a thoughtful text message on the old man's first birthday without her.
你发的是祝你生日快乐，身体健康，找一个称心如意的好老婆。但是你们现在还没有离婚呢。
The old lady's unreasonable actions made the reporter so angry that he almost wanted to wrap up and leave. However, seeing the situation worsening, the old lady began to play the victim to gain sympathy. She openly stated that at the age of 28, she lost her husband and youngest son in a car accident, and her eldest son was weak and in poor health. To support and raise him, she had to work tirelessly to provide for her family. She always knew that relying solely on her own efforts would not provide her and her child with a good life. However, this marriage came at just the right moment. The old man's appearance not only resolved her immediate needs for clothing and food, but also helped her renovate her old house, solving her retirement issues. However, her persistent resentment over the old man's refusal to provide the bride price for her own son left her deeply dissatisfied. In the end, the old lady resolved to take action. Since he was unwilling to provide, she decided to take what she could. She took all of the old man's savings and left without looking back. To her surprise, after 10 years, the old man not only did not search for her, but also seemed to be living better and had even secretly built a villa at home. Upon learning this, the old lady immediately returned, claiming she wanted to reclaim everything that belonged to her. In the old lady's view, after living with the old man for so many years, even if she did not contribute directly, she certainly endured hardships. If it hadn't been for her old companion's refusal to give money for his son's bride price back then, she wouldn't have chosen to leave the family. It was precisely because of her departure that her old companion was stimulated to improve his life. Therefore, the fact that the house can now be expanded with a villa owes half of its credit to her. Faced with the old lady's unreasonable claims, the old man, unable to hide his affection, moved forward to show his strength and criticized her for being shameless and full of lies. Subsequently, to verify the truth, the reporter interviewed nearby neighbors. After listening to the neighbors, the reporter finally understood that the old lady had been pretending to be pitiful to gain sympathy from others. At this point, the old man's son made a statement that made the reporter's scalp tingle. It turns out that in order to marry the old man smoothly, the old lady deliberately had the old man secretly obtain the marriage certificate without informing his son. When the son found out that they had already consummated their marriage, he did not blame his father too much and only hoped that the family could live in peace. However, the old lady seemed unable to be content without causing trouble every day. The son frankly stated that since the stepmother entered their home, there has been constant chaos, which has caused neighbors and relatives to avoid interacting with them. The current situation can only be blamed on the father not finding the right partner. Now that the truth is revealed, the old lady may realize that pretending to be weak is no longer useful. Her demeanor immediately changed, and she resolutely demanded a divorce and a division of property. Seeing this, the group went to the local village committee for help. After understanding their intention, the staff stated clearly that although the villa is under the old man's name, the money for building the villa was provided by the old man's son. Therefore, the old lady's plan to obtain the property through divorce cannot be realized. Seeing that getting the property was hopeless, the old lady changed her demand and said that if she wants to get rid of her troubles, the old man must give her 100,000 yuan. Otherwise, she will make everyone's life a living hell, and no one will be able to live peacefully. Faced with the old lady's unreasonable demands, the old man looked helpless but firmly stated that he would resolve the matter through legal means. So, what do you think about this situation?